Warning: this video contains strong language and opinions. If you're easily offended, don't watch.
Hey, Witch, do you know anything about biology?
Well, yeah, who doesn't?
This chick's Sin.
Okay, so why should I care?
She's a racist black chick that thinks white people are recessive and are a dying breed. Yes, got him.
There's a thing in biology called recessive and dominant genetics. So let me just give you an overview so we can go over biology for dummies, because clearly these idiots in the comments don't understand that. There is a concept called recessive and dominant genes. What that means is some genes are not able to perform, create, or mutate in the way that other genes are. The genes that aren't able to produce, or that you don't see as often as others, are called recessive genes. Meaning, if you have blue eyes or green eyes, those are a trait of a recessive gene.
Okay, wrong, just wrong. Recessive just means that trait or those multitudes of traits lay dormant to the other dominant traits. Your example of blue or green-eyed people is actually a mutation in and of itself, even though, yes, they are recessive genes. So, therefore, recessive genes can still mutate.
So, meaning if you are a white person, genetically, it is because you have recessive genes. Meaning, your genes cannot create anything except other white people. And it can barely do that.
You're right. If a white person has a kid with a white person, you can bet your ass that it's going to be a white child. But this also happens with any other race. For instance, when two black people get together and have a kid, you can bet your ass the kid's going to be black and not white.
Seems as though they have a specific problem with the fact that their genes is actually recessive and ours is dominant. I don't care whether you want me to word it as recessive or dominant, when recessive and dominant is basically the same thing as saying inferior versus superior.
Wow, Napoleon complex much? Dominant just means that it will show more often than not. Just take the case with blue eyes. Yes, you don't see them as much, but that doesn't mean a blue-eyed person is any better or worse than a brown-eyed person.
He said brown eye.
Because I don't care about the existence of another white person. I don't care how you feel about me as a black person. I'm still going to sit here and point out facts. I'm still going to sit here and point out science. But again, if...
Textbook racism. You don't care about the existence of another human being just because of the color of their skin? Seriously.
And so far your facts have been debunked.
Actually, I'm a perfect example of how recessive your genetics actually is. So, one idiot put on my comments that if my family lived in the northeastern part of America...
Yeah, you're right. That person is an idiot for saying that.
Then I would be white. Okay, so let me tell you this. Half of my family over 113 years ago started with a white woman. It took one African man to change her entire bloodline to black people, which then you got the product of a black person. A white person cannot create a black person, but a black person can actually turn a white person.
And you're wrong. Your bloodline of skin color could have gone, either way. Let me put it to you this way. This black person gets together with this white person, right? They have a kid who is half black, half white. Now, what if that, interracial child went to a white person instead? And then their child went to a white person, their child went to a white person. Yes, after generations, you would have ended up being white, not black. In your case, however, since you are a fairly darker skinned black person, your Milano uh, ancestor would have been going with black people throughout the lines instead of white people throughout the lines. For instance, I have Chinese heritage. Do I look Chinese? No, I don't. Because the majority of my bloodline is white. Predominantly white. But yet I still have Chinese ancestry. So,
that is recessive into a black person. You need to debate that with science, because at the end of the day, if you are literally insane and intellectually retarded if you think moving to a different region of the world is going to change your race. I've literally been in Washington that almost seems like it's cold and rainy 364 out of 365 days a year. I'm still black.
Congratulations. You yourself would have never turned skin color just because you lived your life in one area. That's not how evolution works. It took millions of years for the first white person to even be seen. And yes, it was due to the lack of sunlight.
exactly. You see, the human species did originate somewhere in Africa. We know this to be, practically fact. And throughout our migration east and then north, our skin became lighter because we didn't get as much sun. So white people was just an evolutionary trait in order for the human race to survive. Am I saying that whites are better because of that? No, it's because we don't have much sun up north, so we need lighter skin to absorb the sun's light. While black people are around sun pretty much all the fucking time, so they don't need as much, and that's why they have black skin, so they don't absorb as much.
Number one, actually, your genetics determine your geographic location, not your geographic location determining.
I don't think she heard you, Sly.
I'm not repeating myself to an idiot cunt like her.
Your genetics. Meaning, if you do not have the genetic capability to survive in the heats of Africa, you are not going to originate there. That's not going to be your...
What about the white Africans in South Africa? Do they even count?
That's why you didn't see many blacks in Northern Europe thousands of years ago.
Place of origin. You came from a cave because you cannot stand your genetic makeup put you there. I did. Because your genes cannot tolerate the heat of the sun and the dryness of a desert climate. Your genes cannot tolerate that. So your genes determine your geographic...
Again, just having to repeat myself over and over again. Yes, white people back then could not survive in that extreme heat. But at the same time, black people couldn't survive in the extreme cold. The whole point. Neither one race is superior to the other. We both have our flaws and we both have our feats. That's it.
Don't. Believe reality. Believe the fact that your race is dying off. Believe the fact that you can't procreate or create anything other than white people and you can bear...
I don't think this stupid bitch heard you either, Witch. You might want to, tell her again.
I'm sick and tired of repeating myself to a moronic racist like this.
So you can sit here and talk about all the inventions that you stole from Africa and patented and coined it as your own. But at the end of the day, I think you know you...
What inventions from Africa? A spear? Go to any other culture, they had a spear. A leather shield? My Scottish heritage had leather shields. Loincloths? I'm pretty sure many other cultures around the world had loincloths, especially in the more, tropical regions. Historically, most of the inventions that ever came about came from Europe and parts of Asia. For instance, without the Asians' gunpowder, The Europeans would have never been able to make the firearm. Plain and simple.
I knew he'd fall for it.
Oh my. I think you may have forgotten me. I am so sad now. I didn't get to read off any definitions.
Okay, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that like button, share with your friends and family, and subscribe? Maybe? Yeah? Alright. See you next time. And, as always, blessed be.